today for lawnfawn and welcome back to the channel. Today I have another Halloween card to share with you all. I know that Halloween is only a day away, but I just really wanted to make this one last card, so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm using the Costume Party and the Pick of the Patch stamp sets, and then I'm also using the How You Been stamp set for the jar image. So I'm going to start off by working on my background. So I've gone ahead and pulled in a ton of different colours of distress inks to create a really nice sky background. And so I've just started off with tumbled glass and I'm just going right around the edges. Then I'm bringing in Salty Ocean and adding in a little bit more of a darker blue. Then I'm bringing in Blueprint Sketch and adding in a lot of like the darker blue colours here, along with Chipped Sapphire to really start bringing that background to life. And I really love adding a little bit of black soot on the edges as well. So you can see here it really adds a lot of layers of dimension once you add the black soot in. So I went ahead and did that, and then I'm just working reverse through the colours to blend everything together. So I was originally going to ink blend a moon in the centre here, which is why I left it white for so long, but it ended up not working out because I had too many fingerprints and everything. So I ended up doing that separately next, but I just ended up filling in that center with blue, which is fine because you're not going to see it even if it's not perfect. So now once I've gone ahead and done that, I'm going to work on my moon. So I just went ahead and pulled in a little bit of pumice stone and hickory smoke. These greys are quite different. One's like a more of a warm grey and one's more of a cool grey, but they work really well together to create a moon. So that's what I decided to do. So I'm just blending in the colours just on one edge of the moon, because then I'm going to die cut this out using a circle die from the Circle Stackables die set. So now I'm going to flick a little bit of water onto the background, pick it up with a paper towel and dry it off with a heat tool, and then I also repeated that same step for the blue night sky background as well. I just think it adds a lot of dimension into it. So then I dried them off, set them off to the side, and now it's time to work on my images. So I'm just going to stamp out a ton of the images from both of the stamp sets, so the Costume Party and the Pick of the Patch. And basically I'm just stamping a lot of like the little images, because I want to use those jars to create some image shakers. So you can see I'm just going to be colouring in a ton of the small images included in each of the stamp sets, and then a couple of the kids as well, just to help create the scene. So now I'm going to start off by colouring in all of my images. So I'm colouring in the orange elements with some YR18, YR15 and YR12. And this is just going to be for the pumpkins, a little bit of the candy corn, the little like jack-o'-lantern treat holders, and a couple of the other things as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and colour all those in. Then I'm colouring in the little dinosaur kid in the costume, and I'm using YG67, YG63 and YG61, and then I'm also colouring in a few of the other little elements with those greens as well, like the tops of the pumpkins and things like that. So then I'm coming in with a little bit of red violet colours, so I'm using RV09, RV25 and RV13, and I'm just colouring in a few of the candies with those colours. Then I'm just moving on to colour some of my elements in with a few yellows. So I really wanted to colour in the bottoms of the brooms and like the kids' hair and the bits on the unicorn and like the little like wooden spoons with these yellow colours. So I'm using YR23, Y32 and Y23 for those. And I just thought this was the perfect combination for lots of different things. That's why I'm colouring in so many areas with those colours. And then I just went ahead and skipped ahead and just finished off the colouring, since this is a very long video and the colouring I just only did a very small amount, so you can use whatever colours you like. So now that I've coloured in all of the images, I'm just going to cut them out using all of the coordinating dies. Now that I've cut out all of my images, it's time to work on my jars. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the How You Been stamp set and stamp out a lot of 3 of the jars from this stamp set. I also did stamp and colour the lid, but I didn't end up using it, so you can skip that step if you want to. Once I've gone ahead and stamped down the jars, I am going to line them all up onto my background. So my goal here was to have them all in a line just like this, so it looks like they're like sitting on the floor, like filled with a ton of different images, but I knew that they were too big to have them all like be full in a line. So I had to cut some of them down. So I thought the easiest way to do this was to line them all up on the card, just like so. Line up where I want the center one, since I know that that's going to be my only full image. And then take the same die that I used to cut out these shaker jars here and run that through the middle of both of those pieces. So then I can butt them up against each other and they can all like be perfectly flat in a line. And then also that makes it a lot easier to do the shakers as well. So I've gone ahead and taken a piece of acetate and I'm just going to adhere all 3 of my shaker jars on top of the acetate and then cut around the excess with my scissors. And then here I'm just going through and I'm adding score tape around the entire perimeter of all of these shaker jars here because I want to get them ready to adhere down some foam. So then for my foam, you can see here that I've already added the full foam jar to the center, and also I just cut this out with the same die using fun foam instead to give it that little bit more dimension. So anyway, once I've gone ahead and done that, I've adhered that into the center of my panel, and then I need to figure out what I need to do with the outer jars. And so I thought the easiest way to do this was to just adhere them directly on this die cut piece. So that's why I'm adding score tape around the entire outside. Then I just adhered the foam jars on the left and the right sides of that panel piece and then cut them down just using my scissors so it doesn't intrude the center jar at all. And you can see that at the top of the screen here. Sorry I didn't get that on camera, it's just my head was in the way and you couldn't really see anything. So now that that is all ready to go, I'm just filling out my image shakers with the images. So I just sort of wanted there to be like 3 separate areas, one for candy, one for pumpkins, and one for tools. I just thought that made the most sense, and I just think it turned out really cool. And so I'm just filling them up here. I probably should have used all of the images that I had coloured and cut earlier, but I just thought that they would be a little bit too full. But what I found in the end is that because this acetate is quite staticky, a lot of the images group together. So it didn't really turn out as well as I would have hoped. So I would definitely fill them up a lot more than I did here, but you live and you learn, and at least I know for next time. So then I just went ahead and adhered on the topper, and you can see here that these are all shaken around and they look really cool and fun. So I'm really happy with the way these turned out. And yeah, so now it's time to work on adhering the rest of my scene together. So I have the little kids here, but they need something to stand on. So I decided to pull out the Grassy Hillside Borders dies and just do the same thing I did with the Distress inks earlier. Instead, I just used Shabby Shutters and Mowed Lawn, ink blended those onto a piece of watercolor cardstock, flicked it with water, dried it off with a heat tool, and then used the die to cut out the hill. So I adhered that down with more foam tape, and now I can move on to adhering my kids into place. So for my kids, I just added some more foam tape onto the backs and adhered them into place. And then for my sentiment, I decided to use the Happy Halloween that came in the Costume Party stamp set. I white heat embossed that onto a black strip of cardstock, and then I adhered that piece onto my card base just with more foam tape. So that finishes up my card for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed and are inspired to create some little image shakers. I love these jars for that. I just think they make it really fun and easy to do. I also wanted to just jump in here and apologize for my voice. I'm really sorry if I sounded a little bit off or croaky. I think I'm coming down with a flu, but that's okay. I just wanted to apologize to you guys for maybe not sounding the best. So anyway, thank you so much for stopping by today. All of the supplies will be listed down below and also over at the blog post, and I'll catch you all next time.